Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast, where I give you practical Stoic advice for modern times. If you'd like to see more information about this podcast, or if you'd like to see more of my free resources, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com. But for now, I really hope that you enjoy this podcast, and if you do, then I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe on iTunes and leave a positive review so that more people can have the chance to listen to this great work. Hi there, and welcome to the 4th episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I've been thinking about how I should kick off this first real episode of the show, and one quote was a clear winner in my mind. This quote is from Epictetus, and it's the winner because it perfectly outlines the promise of Stoicism. And here it is. Epictetus says that, quote, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. It is only after you have faced up to this fundamental rule and learned to distinguish between what you can and can't control that inner tranquility and outer effectiveness become possible." End quote. Shouldn't this be the goal of everyone on this earth? Inner tranquility and outer effectiveness? Well, this is the promise of Stoicism. The core values of Stoicism, when practiced diligently, can lead you to a life that you didn't even know existed. All of the Stoic philosophers talk about the idea that some things are within our control and some things are not. The modern-day philosopher and author William Irvine altered this philosophy and named it the Trichotomy of control, meaning that there are some things that we can fully control, there are some things over which we hold only partial control, and there are some things which we have absolutely no control over. So why is this principle so important? Well, because when we understand what we have control over and what we don't, then we can spend more of our efforts on those things which we can control and waste less time on those things which we can't. As Epictetus stated in his quote, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of this principle. Let's dive into an example. Let's say you're a professional marathon runner. You have a big race coming up and you're looking for ways to amplify your performance and win the race. As a Stoic, you would most likely look at this challenge in 3 parts. First, what aspects of this race are completely out of your control? Second, what aspects of this race are completely within your control? And third, what aspects of this race are only partially in your control? So let's break this down. First, you cannot control the performance of your competitors. Well, you could, but that would be cheating, and that is not part of the Stoic handbook. So now that you know that you cannot control your competitors' performance, you can stop worrying and stressing about how fast they will be, and spend your efforts elsewhere. Another thing that you cannot control is the weather on the day of the event. One cannot simply expect the perfect conditions for any form of competition, so now you can stop worrying about what kind of day it will be, because that would be a complete waste of your energy, seeing as there is literally nothing that you can do to sway that outcome. Next, you would need to think about the things that are definitely within your control. First, you can definitely control how much time you spend training in preparation for the race. So instead of worrying about the weather or your competitor's performance, start focusing your efforts towards making yourself the best competitor. Second, you can definitely control how prepared you are on the day of the event. Will you get enough sleep? Will you eat the right foods to prepare? Do you understand the track that you'll be running on? Have you done all the necessary stretches? These are all things that you can control. These are all things where your efforts should flow. And finally, what are the things that you can only partially control? I would say that one of these things is whether or not you win the race. Yes, you may be very prepared, but maybe someone else is more prepared. Yes, you may have trained better than anybody else, but ill fate may come your way and you may sustain an injury mid-race, leaving you with no choice but to slow down or pull out. See, no matter how prepared you are for life, there will always be things that get in the way. But on a positive note, even though you cannot control fate or bad luck, you can control your resilience and resourcefulness in face of these challenges. So as you can see, the successful Stoic marathon runner will focus nearly all of his efforts on those things which he can control, and spend very little time, effort, thought, or energy on those things which he cannot control. By doing this, he receives the ultimate prize, as outlined by Epictetus: inner tranquility and outer effectiveness. Outer effectiveness because he has trained and prepared himself to the best of his abilities, and inner tranquility because he knows that no matter what happens, he is now stronger, faster, and better than he was yesterday. Wouldn't you love to have this inner and outer effectiveness in your life? Well, you can have this if you will only take the time to correctly move your energy towards those things which you can control in life, all the while guiding your efforts away from those things which you cannot control. You cannot control how other people treat you, but you can control how you react to the treatment. You cannot control the weather, but you can choose to dance in the rain. You cannot control whether or not you will be alive tomorrow, but you can control how you are appreciating today. Have you ever felt like you're trying to move a mountain in life, and yet nothing ever seems to happen how you want it to? This could be because you're focusing too much of your energy on the things that you cannot control, and too little energy on the things that you can. A general rule of thumb when analyzing what you can and cannot control in life is this: most of the time, the things that you can control in life start with you. You can control your mind and your actions generally, which means that your time and effort should be mostly steered towards your own personal actions. The things that you cannot control are mostly outside of yourself. Things like other people's emotions and actions, the weather, and the way people treat you. The things that you can only partially control are outcomes that require both effort on your part and also input from other people or a touch of good fortune. For example, you can partially control whether or not you get a promotion at work by working harder, showing initiative, and going the extra mile. But in the end, your boss may not recognize your efforts and he may promote someone else. You cannot fully control that outcome, but if you don't try, then you have a 100% chance of failing. So in the end, the promise of Stoicism is this: if you will pour most of your time and effort into the outcomes that you can control, some time and effort into the outcomes that you can partially control, and no time and effort into the outcomes that you cannot control, then you'll have inner tranquility and outer effectiveness. I'd like to challenge you to start looking at your life using this principle, looking for ways to put your focus in the areas that matter. As you do, I know that you'll start to feel the benefits that I've discussed, and you'll be on your way to becoming a better functioning and highly effective person. Before I go, if you'd like more information or if you'd like to see the show notes, then you can head to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com. There I have heaps of blog posts, another podcast called Searching for Good, and much more free stuff. If you would prefer to follow me on Facebook, then you can find me at Daily Stoic Quotes, or just my name, Simon Drew. On my Daily Stoic Quotes page, as the name suggests, I post an amazing Stoic quote every single day. So like that if you want to be inspired daily by the great Stoic philosophers. But until next time, I hope that this episode has helped you on your rise to the good life, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I really hope that it's valuable to you, and I really hope that it helps you to live a better life. If it has been valuable to you, please don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and leave a positive review. If you'd like to see more free resources, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com.